Mic check. David, we good? Mic check. Good? Okay. Yeah. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to September's board meeting agenda. Today, September 25th, 2025, we're going to call the Green Valley Special Utility District meeting to order. Establishing quorum. We have a quorum present. Mr. Hendricks emailed saying that he was going to be absent today due to a test that he has to take. Do I have a motion to excuse?
I'll make a motion to excuse Mr. Hendricks.
I second.
Thank you. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Hendricks is excused. If we can stand for the invocation and pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, in this world of chaos that we're living in right now, we ask your protection over Green Valley, its employees, ratepayers, and partners, and the board of directors. Please protect us from all the evil in the world, and we're very grateful for all the blessings you bestowed on us, but right now it's trying times, and we ask that you do everything you can to make sure that we go home every day safely. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Flags. Whoa, the flags.
Oh, we left it in the back.
All right, well, let's go. I pledge allegiance to the flags of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Trying not to make eye contact with the fellows in the audience.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to public comment. GVSUD welcomes public participation. If you're unable to attend the meeting, a written comment of your name and the topic of the agenda item that you wish to address can be emailed or delivered to the GVSUD office located at 605 FM 465 Marion, Texas 78124. Attention to Pamela Manchek, Public Information Officer. Her email's there. Written comments must be submitted and received no later than 3 p.m. on September 24th, 2025. Please remember, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person. Time may not be shared or ceded to another citizen. I believe we have one public comment. Mr. Terry Hines.
Good morning. I appreciate y'all giving the opportunity to be here today. I promise not to take any more than my allotted 15 minutes. And should I be concerned, I'm the only one sitting on the groom side of the chapel today. So, I just wanted to say hi and good morning. Candidate for mayor for City of Cibolo, and I really appreciate all the effort y'all put forth to create a good working relationship between GVSUD, the City of Cibolo. I know you're doing the same thing with all of your partners around. But I thank you for that. Thank you for your efforts, your good-hearted citizen servants mindset that you bring here, and I'm looking forward to many years of our friendly, helpful teamwork effort, teamwork mindset as we work together moving on into the future. I have a stump speech, but I'm not going to bore you with it. So just thank you all for everything you're doing.
Mr. Hines, good luck.
Thank you. All right, moving to consent agenda. All items listed below are to be considered routine, non-controversial by the board and will be approved by one motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered an action taken as necessary as part of the order of business. We have items D1 through D5. Anybody have any questions?
No one has any comments. I'll make a motion to approve items D1 through D5. And I did want to add, I'm not sure what staff member is working on our minutes, but you're doing a good job. I'll leave it at that.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Sherman, a second by Mr. Robertson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, moving on to item E. Here are updates on the following items from GVSUD General Manager, Staff, and Committee Chairs. E1, Employee Recognition. Mr. Gage.
Okay, good morning, Board. So, Mr. Sherman, that's Pam Manchak that's doing the minutes for us. And Pam is off today, so in case y'all didn't notice, we don't have any of her fine baked breakfast, so we're having to suffer this morning, but that's okay. I wanted to start us off today. I want to do some recognition, as I always do, but this one's a little bit different. So I'm going to ask the whole meter department to come up. Right, so come on up, Brian and Nick and Jason. So there's one thing I want you to notice about the meter department. This is it, right? So they're really our unsung heroes that make sure all of our meters are in the right place, getting read on time, and doing all that, which enables billing and a number of other things. And they've had an ongoing project to get the AMI done, which is the automated meter infrastructure. And we still have some meters to go, but we're making really crazy progress getting it done. And when we're growing at a rate, of more than 1,000 meters a year, these guys have a lot of work to do, right? So I just wanted to recognize this department because they're small and they're mighty. And the three of them, you'll never see them around the office because they are constantly, in the field getting it done. So I just want to recognize these three guys for that. And I got something for you all. And Nick, you keep on getting these things. I don't understand what's up with you, but I recognized Nick not too long ago because he got his D license. But Jason is working on his B license. Or, yeah, your B license. And then Nick, here's for you. And Brian, I just want to say, Brian, he probably has the most licenses. You do have the most licenses out of any employee at Green Valley. So he's got, I can't even name them. There's a lot. But he's a highly licensed individual. He's the supervisor of the meter department. So round of applause for these fine gentlemen. And you got to take a picture. You got to take a picture? Kim, you want to take a picture? Oh, Dave's taking a picture of it. You guys want to take a picture?
Actually,
Mr. President, I'd just like to note the performance of these folks compared to stories I've heard out of San Antonio where SAWS is busy installing AMI and they're having leaks all over the place. I'm not hearing anything like that here. Well, I meant in reference to installing the AMIs.
Oh, okay, I understand what you're saying now, I'm sorry. For my update this morning, it's relatively short, and matter of fact, I put a memo in there, and I don't even know why it's in there because it's completely wrong. When I wrote the memo, we've had several hiring actions since then. So right now, we're currently at 55 active employees. We've brought on 2 customer service representatives and 2 water technicians, essentially filling jobs that we already had available. But in the next 2 weeks, we're bringing on 4 more, and I'd like to announce that I have hired a communications and engagement community engagement manager that we're going to bring her on board, and it's going to be, I shared the resume with a couple of board members already, and she's going to be really good for the team. Her name's Jennifer Colby, so she'll be joining us here in about the 10th of October. So that'll bring us up to a total of 59 employees, which we've been needing the extra manpower. We've just been very selective in who we've been hiring. So we've got a really good team on board, so that's really the bulk of the changes of my memo there. Pending any questions about that?
I think we're good. Okay, moving on to the E2II operations update, Brian.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So for this month, we put 111 meters into the ground. That brings us up to 19,403 across the district. So steady growth, and we're on track for what we originally projected. So if we stay at the current projections, we will actually install 1,284 meters this year. And our projections show that we should install almost the same amount next year as well. So that'll put us at about 2,500 meters over a 2-year period. So definitely a lot bigger than last year, which was just at the 1,000 meter mark. For water production, so we produced or purchased 671 acre feet of water. And to just put that in perspective, that is about 47% of our allocation over for the year. So we are well within our allocated resources, and we see no issues with that. For that, we project that we'll use about 7,000 acre feet for the entire year of the 11,500 that we have that we're good to go. Attachment 1 in your packet is updated as of September 15th. And as I said, we're at 47% total. And if we break it across the different sources, CRWA, we've used 47%. We're at 66% of our Edwards usage. So right on path to be exactly where we will be at the end of the year, just shy of using all of our Edwards, which is what we want to maximize anyway. And then only about 11% of our Trinity well is what we've used for that one. Going there. For billing, so we did bill 615 acre feet of that 671 that we pumped or purchased. That comes out to just shy of $2.5 million of revenue for Green Valley. And we unbilled 45 acre feet. That unbilled water would have attributed to approximately $218,000. But that's from flushing, construction, all that. Moving over to wastewater. So in August, we put in 35 meters in the ground for wastewater or connections, and we're projected to be over 500 for this year if we stay on glide path. We do have 2,328 total connections for wastewater, so we're growing wastewater as well. And the new plant is on track. We do plan on starting startup procedures beginning in November if everything goes according to plan with that one. For billing for wastewater, nothing significant. Same trends continue to go every month, and you can see the updated charts there. And then for plant utilization, so for the plant that we have, we are at 61%. So we're back down to our normal numbers from all the rain and the increase that we saw in the previous months. Pending any questions, that's all I have.
Wow, sorry. Thank you. All right, appreciate that, Brian. CRWA Board of Trustees post-meeting updates. Ms. McDaniel and Mr. Sherman.
Take it first?
I'll tell you what I have.
Okay.
So I have a small amount. The lobbyists did come and do a presentation, the lobbyists that they just hired. They did a presentation and introduction. So that was about 10 or 15 minutes. We also voted to accept removing Maxwell and County Line from the Wells Ranch project, Wells Ranch 3. And they also were going to remove it from the 2026 budget. They were asking for reimbursement for what they paid, which was denied. We're not paying them back. This was they were wanting to be reimbursed from the 23-24 budget. Is that better? Okay. Other than that, that was really like the notes that I took.
So I'll add a couple items that I found important. The minutes have been a problem at CRWA, and it seems just a silly problem to have, but we've been having a problem. We've tabled our minutes for the past couple months, so that prompted my comment to Pam, who's making our minutes, putting them together well so that we can approve them. So we're gotta tighten that up over there. Sherry mentioned the lobbyist came and spoke, listed a couple different bills that they're keeping an eye on for us. We'd had a problem with our Wells Ranch 3 project. It was in the wrong county in the Region L plan. That was resolved. It was reported it was resolved. So that is important. And then a lot of our general business, we tabled. Things weren't, email policy wasn't included in the packet, and investment policy was debated over minor, unimportant items, in my opinion, and it was tabled. We just didn't get a whole lot done, which is becoming a little bit frustrating, and I'm working on that. But that's the balance of the reportable items.
Did we report this month or last month? We did get the disbursement policy passed. We did get
That was
that passed.
but the email policy
Yeah.
that was listed as business was not included in the packet.
Oh, we
So-
also, we went over Carrie's goals for, the general manager for this year. So moving forward, we'll see how many of the goals that he had a timeline now for us. We'll see how many of the goals that he can achieve.
Did we learn anything of significance from the lobbyists' report?
I would say no, and Sherry.
I'm shocked.
Sherry underestimated their timeline. I tracked it. It was 32 minutes. Should have been just an introduction. Here's who we are. There were 3 of them that attended. One guy spoke, then he threw it to the other fella, then they threw it to the third fella, and then they threw it back to the first guy. I actually pulled up an email and sent the general
Okay.
manager a note, hey, maybe. They did list House Bill 27. I just closed my notes. How was it House Bill 27 that they listed that I put in my notes that, hey, maybe the different lobbyists, or the different PR firms, I think we call them, should maybe coordinate to where they're all saying the same message. But I don't have the details of that House bill. That's
Okay. I don't know if Phil, since Shan is not here, if you can give us, the nugget of what that bill is about, because I don't know. But
I don't. I mean, Shan's on, I don't know if he could say what House Bill 27 was about. But I can tell you that the majority of the discussion was introductions. I mean, literally, we introduced for like 20, 30 minutes, and we all forgot what they said.
Okay.
I mean, so there was not enough substance, and that's okay in the sense that they're introducing themselves to the new organization. They had gotten some guidance from staff to do that. But I think they kind of lost us a little bit, so I'm hoping their performance is going to improve. But I'll ask Shan. Shan's online. If you can't answer it now, Shan,
Yeah.
if you could look up that one and tell us what it's about.
I will. I'll look it up. Apologize for not being there in person. Trying to protect the health of my favorite client.
Okay.
Mr. Sherman, is that the same lobbying firm that used to be contracted with us, or do you remember?
no.
Okay.
So those guys, I can't remember their name offhand. They're employed with ARWA. And
Okay.
so the new lobbying firm that CRWA employed, one of the discussions was, hey, maybe let's have a variety of voices all, having different conversations
Yeah.
in the same direction, to where it's not the same voice representing multiple entities
Yeah.
that we're paying into. So we, the former Green Valley representation is still employed with ARWA.
Yeah. Well, see, I remember they still, truth be known, try to throw a fishing hook towards me, hoping to get back in here, which I don't even reply to.
Right.
So from what the House Bill second legislator session, what it's saying summary-wise is relating to groundwater study of certain rural aquifers, underlining the territory of the Neches and Trinity Valley Groundwater Conservation District by the Texas Water Development Board before issuance of permits or permit amendments by the district. It's highly favored, strong partisan bill. Both parties seem to be pushing forward. Nothing else pertinent. So, anyways.
That's what I got too. That's what I got too.
Appreciate
It's
the update on that.
Well, I saw some notes, maybe even from last month, about concerns with this, and I was just curious what our concern was.
I don't have the detailed notes
Okay.
with me, but I can.
If we can,
get some
yeah. All right, thanks.
support for you.
Shannon, do you have any other comments?
no.
Thank you. All right, appreciate that. Anybody have any other questions, comments, concerns? We're good? All right, moving on. CRWA Board of Managers post-meeting updates.
So the Board of Managers this month, we were supposed to tour the Lake Dunlap facility. I reported to the board on a significant water problem. They had a leak at a flange at Wells Ranch, right? I mean, so that precluded our tour of Lake Dunlap treatment facility. So we went ahead and just had a relatively quick meeting. The operations manager was not available because he had gone out to Wells Ranch. We didn't cover a whole lot of business. We are continuing. I'm trying to force the conversation about master planning at CRWA. So we've talked about it a couple of Board of Managers meetings in a row, how CRWA needs to refresh, create, a master plan that is a sum of its parts, if you will, like all of the entity's master planning efforts needs to be rolled up into their master planning efforts so we can come up with some meaningful capital improvement projects in terms of plant capacity and water line capacity, et cetera. And that, I'm starting to gain traction with it, but I need staff to actually pick up the mantle and go get a proposal, from a consultant engineer so we can have something to recommend to the Board of Trustees in terms of, creating a master plan. So that discussion, I'll keep carrying that discussion forward because it needs to happen. I mean, just from a concept of very simply, all of the entities are growing, the majority of them are growing, us being one of them. So Brian just briefed you, we're about, what'd you say, 60-something% of our usage on CRWA. Well, the day is coming, we're going to be 100% of the water that we have on contract from CRWA. We have got to do something, they have got to do something to ensure the facilities can withstand that because the demand is increasing. Right, we know that. I mean, it's no secret. So I'm working pretty hard on that one. So this next month in October, we're going to do Lake Dunlap, come hell or high water, right? So if the operations manager can't be there for some emergency, no big deal. Carrie can take us out there. We're going to do the tour. My intent behind that is to get the Board of Managers out into the facilities and actually talk to some operators and see if there's anything that the operators need that they're not getting. They are getting that they don't want. I mean, we got to hear from the guys operating the equipment, and so I'm going to take the managers out there and get that done. Other than that, Penn, any questions?
Nope, I appreciate you going out there and seeing how they're getting that stuff repaired. So I think you were the only GM, right, out of all the districts
What's that now?
that was present during that repair?
Oh, yeah, we went out there. That's it. Yeah, it's just us.
Okay. Well, gotta lead by example. All right, thank you. Moving on to ARWA Board of Directors post-meeting updates, Mr. Sherman.
So the bulk of our activity yesterday at the board meeting was renewal of contracts. Annually, they have board action to renew the current contracts. So we renewed our PR firm. A little hesitant on that one, but I understand why. We renewed the attorneys, Lloyd Gosling, Rochelle, and Townsend. We renewed the Schluter Group. That's the name of the lobbyist, Bob. We renewed a groundwater permitting expert contract with them, and we also renewed the healthcare plan for staff. It went up slightly. It was like $2,700. I was shocked that it was that small an increase year over year. Not a whole lot of staff, but still, the healthcare is getting out of hand. We did go over the update on the Phase 1B program, which is the existing phase of the treatment plant. During the technical committee a couple weeks earlier, the project manager had reported on an issue with communication between the wells, the plant, the booster pump stations, and the receiving discharge points, the tanks. That has not been resolved yet, but in the technical committee, Jason gave us a detailed explanation of what the problem was and option 1 and option 2 for solution. So I was very pleased with his effort of being able to explain what the issue was. That has not been resolved yet, and then there is one security camera that is failing at the wastewater plant the water treatment plant that they're getting repaired under warranty. So that's the update on the current phase of the project. The subsequent phase of the project, the expansion, we've issued RFPs for CMAR, Construction Manager at Risk, which is a procurement method that accelerates the process. They get a contractor on board during the design phase to help with suggestions on constructability, cost savings, that maybe the engineers see it a little bit differently than a contractor would, and they're the ones doing it. So we had 5 submissions for CMAR. A committee of trustee or board members of ARWA, including Kerry Averett, the general manager at CRWA, which I ensured he was on the selection committee to be involved in that, recommended the Haskell Group as the CMAR for that project. Staff is going to meet with the Haskell Group on Friday to negotiate some things that we discussed in executive session. So we're going to have that on Friday, and then if they can come to terms with that, ARWA is going to hold a special meeting to discuss potentially bringing them on board formally. So we'll have an early meeting sometime in October, pending the Friday discussion with them, how it goes. That's on an accelerated rate. Many of the users, specifically our friends over at Kyle, are in desperate need of the additional water. Got an accelerated schedule for that.
Did the capacity, I know on your notes, you have a successful test run of the output that was
Yes,
needed.
so 19.0, I believe, was the successful test run. 19.5 is the design. During the technical committee meeting, I asked, hey, what about that missing 500,000 gallon? Well, the equipment we're renting, there was a little problem with it, and they're still dialing it in. But that's not the contractor's responsibility. ARWA rented that equipment. Contractor did all the piping work to plumb to it. So that is not the contractor's responsibility. That's why we let it go forward. But they just need to tweak it a little bit, is my understanding. So we're calling it a successful full test run.
So when do you guys think the rental equipment will be done?
The rental equipment with this expansion that I'm discussing with the CMAR, part of the permanent correction to the issue with the Phase 1 involves renting the equipment. So we're putting together the expansion project with milestones and potentially incentives to finish that early, to get that off rent. That's going to be earlier in the project versus the expansion. So it'll be sequenced to where the contractor is focused on getting the remedial work done. So I don't, we have to get the CMAR on
So
you know,
next
on the books.
year,
27,
Early
summer
27.
27 for the full completion of the project was what was stated yesterday, because that has crept a little bit from third, fourth quarter of 26.
it's almost 2
Kyle
years.
specifically brought that up, that, you know, the schedule has crept a little bit. But the remedial work to get the clarification, we refer to as our interim clarification rentals, to get the interim clarification offline and the permanent clarification upgrades done will be sequenced first in the expansion project.
But we're not needing that correct gauge at this time in any way, shape, or form.
We're leasing our water to
Right,
Kyle.
Right, so as long as that's continuing on, we're good on our end, so. Okay.
And then lastly, I'm sorry, we had one more work order with Pape Dawson, who has done all of our expansion, or inspection work on the project. They were some of the ones that raised some of these concerns. We renewed their contract for the expansion work. We had it over an hour-long executive session. Came out of executive session, and we took action. We worded it a little vaguely, but in summary, it's to pursue relief for design errors on the first portion of the project from designers. So we are pressing forward with pursuing relief.
Are we good? All right, thank you. Going to E6, District Engineer Update.
Good morning, everybody. I am happy to announce that on our project summary, we've been working pretty diligently with staff to refine our numbers. I know they've kind of been all over the place in the recent reports, but we kind of had 2 workshops to really refine these numbers, and we've got them down to actual. We've kind of deleted some of the fluff and stuff that's been hanging around for a little while. So I'm happy to report we've got 75 projects in design, 55 in construction, and 10 in closeout for a total of 140 projects right now. On the capital improvement side of the house, the highlights I'd like to hit, the generator project for plant 3, 8, and 9. We provided 90% comments last week, so we'll be in 100% design, hopefully bidding that one pretty soon, within the next month or so. The plant 3 fill line, the pictures that were provided are of the bore under I-10, which they were auger boring at first, and I wanted to provide pictures. They are now hand digging a portion of that, which I don't know if any of you have ever seen that. That's pretty wild. It's literally a guy in there with a shovel digging in the small 30-inch or 36-inch hole. But other than that, everything's going smoothly. The Santa Clara wastewater treatment plant, the 0.5 expansion, that's under construction right now. The highlights to hit from last month, they included all the walkways and stairs to all the basins, so all the basins are accessible. They have completed leak testing for all the concrete basins and channels. We had no issues with those, and they are currently coating those along with the manholes, and they are installing the blowers and electric and filter canopies. They are also installing the weirs to the headwork trough, and they are finishing up the non-potable underground lines. And I believe yesterday, I got an update yesterday that they successfully tied in the force main to the splitter box. So we are making great progress on that. And on the other part of the Santa Clara front, we had a workshop with the design team last week to go over GVSUD's comments on the 30% design for the 1.25 expansion. And so that portion of the project's progressing well. And when we hit the 60%, I think we'll probably bring in the construction committee to take a look at some of that and look at some of the things that could be, I guess, value engineering from another eye would be the best way to describe that. So
on the 90%, when do you think we're going to have at least a design part wrapped up to where we go to bid
for the
for the 1.25?
For the 1.25, I don't know right now on the bid. Yeah, we'll get a schedule out. One of the things that's really going to drive the bidding process, and we've got to cross the bridge, is how we're going to finance that project and which avenue we're going to take, whether it's Water Development Board or other ways. And once we get that narrowed down, we could really have a
But the percentage that we need in order to determine that would be
60%.
60%?
Yeah,
So we're at that point now. So now we can go into the finance world side of things,
correct.
see what options are available, and then once we determine, then continue with design. Okay.
Correct, yeah. Any other questions?
No, other than that,
Is that a picture of the guy that you were talking about?
Yes, that one.
But we pay him, but it's not enough.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy in the blue in the picture you see coming out of the pipe, he was literally hand digging in the pipe.
And what was the reason that they need to go to hand dig? Is there soil they didn't like, or what was the?
I think that they are doing the boring in-house, and to be honest with you, I think their boring machine just wasn't long enough to do the bores, so they're hand digging the portions that their boring machine can't reach.
and they can't go to the other side and,
Well, I think they can. I just
Yeah.
don't think they can reach from the other side too. I think there's a small section in the middle
That's
that they
just-
don't have enough reach with their own machine, and so they elected to hand dig. It's not a separate line item or.
but safety-wise, everything is
Oh, yeah.
kosher, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was going to
Yeah.
say OSHA has been on site, because
how-
I know the guy in San Antonio, I can call him.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Great Escape.
But we haven't had any accidents or anything.
No, I mean, they're very safe. They're well off the road. They're well off the access road. They've got the proper shoring. They've got the proper fencing in place. And so we haven't seen anything. But yes.
Or two.
I'd also like to say, I know Travis shows the construction committee these aerial photos, but that's a very helpful, just kind of keep track of the progress of the plant. I think, David, are you the one that runs the drone? So that was a great idea to get, and that's useful for me to.
I'll
see
brag
where
a little bit on David. I've been sending him out everywhere for my updates. He does a great job capturing photos. And we're going to try to put together he's been taking a photo of the wastewater treatment plant from like the same aerial view all throughout the process. And I think maybe for the next board meeting or construction committee meeting, we'll show a time-lapse view of how it came together.
And when we're done with that, I mean, that's even a good tool for when we have, the students come see what we do in the process of the actual construction of this. This doesn't just happen overnight. So again, it's a good tool. I appreciate that we're using it.
Can we get some pictures of the interior of the hand digging, David? Can we get you up in there, and get some close-ups, maybe? Maybe
David, Mike.
a larger, maybe a
want that
larger
recorded,
casing,
no.
I'm not sure. Okay.
Awesome. Well, good work. We'll let the construction committee keep hounding y'all.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to E7 committee reports. We have E7 I, double I, triple I, and I and 4. So does anybody have any comments, concerns they want to bring up? Or is everybody good with their memos that they put in?
John, I do.
Yeah.
I inadvertently left the Strategic Water Conservation Committee note memo out of the board packet, so I provided it in hard copy there.
Do you have any comments on that? You're good?
We anticipate having a draft for the board to consider in the December meeting, we think, Phil? Yeah, so we're on track for that, I think.
Okay. All right. Without any other questions on any other committees or meetings, we'll continue. Moving on to the GVHD Strategic Plan Quarterly Assessment Briefing. Mr. Gage and Brian.
Okay, so Brian and I are going to tag team this briefing. I'll just kind of tee it up for a little bit, and I'm going to have David's going to pull up the charts for us. You got the charts back there? Okay, he'll pull up the charts. So anyway, what we're doing is every quarter now that we have a strategic plan in place, this is the first, assessment briefing that we're going to give you guys. And Brian will talk a little bit about the way ahead, but this is in a committee report sort of thing, because we're not asking for any board action on this. It's just updating you on the progress. So kind of, the way ahead is every quarter we'll take a look at the plan, where we're at, and then every other quarter we'll bring it in as an action item to ask the board to approve clearing task off and putting task on. So it's a pretty, it's a pretty basic thing, but it keeps us moving. So here's the agenda we'll follow today. It's pretty easy. I'll just hit some highlights. You can go to the next chart. But the exciting thing about this is we have made quite a few things we've already really gotten into, and there's some that you can see, and we'll point out that we haven't gotten into yet, and that was mainly because of a personnel gap that we had, and I just filled it, so we should be able to get onto those. So back when we did this planning, we said, okay, here's our vision: clean water, reliable people, superior service, and here's our mission. And we cleaned up the mission statement quite a bit, and this is what our mission statement is right now. And it's really, it's very simply stated there. I don't have to read it for us. Go to the next chart. So we have 4 main goals on the next chart. On the next chart. Oh, there you go. We came up with these 4 main goals. All right, modernize our infrastructure and operations, optimize water, refine our organization's professional culture, and then engage the community. So if you very simply, we want to modernize, optimize, refine, and engage. I mean, so we all have good verbs in our plan. And so Brian's going to take us through, our red, amber, green chart of what progress we've been able to do and some of the measurements, the targets that we're hitting in terms of our KPIs to get those moving forward. So I'll hand it over to Brian and let him walk us through those. So go ahead, Brian. Next slide.
Good morning again. Next slide. So back in the Army, when with Phil and I, this is what we call a chiclet chart, red, amber, green, and it really just allows us to visually see where we stand on any given task. Green obviously being complete, amber or yellow is in progress, and then red is something that we either haven't started yet or we're having some trouble in at the moment. I'll tell you right now, all of the reds, we just really haven't had time to start any of these. And it's also important to note that the goal date for some of these are not necessarily short times either. So we're well within what we have set out to do. So no concerns for any of the things that are in red. But for modernizing the infrastructure and operations, we have made some significant progress, especially with some of the initiatives. So, and the first one being the upgrading SCADA and AMI. So we transitioned from Wonderware to GeoSCADA. So our system has fully transitioned over to the GeoSCADA for both water and wastewater, and we're getting everything up and running with that. So that's a big upgrade. And then for AWI or AMI, we have 5 antennas currently within the district. We have 2 more planned for FY26. And it's the assessment in the meter department that we could need upwards of 11 in order to just touch all of the meters that are going to be in the ground. So we'll continue to get there as we go. And we still have some more meters to actually put in the ground, some more Neptune meters to put in the ground so that we are fully on the AMI side of the house. But definitely making progress there. Down to the third initiative, the standardizing the environmental compliance procedures. So one of the KPIs there was implementing a central water tracking system, and I think I've knocked that one off the table with attachment 1 to the operations report. It now visually allows us to see all of the water that we have, that we're allocated, that we've used, and it's updated regularly and whatnot. So I think we're pretty good on that one. Moving down a little further to asset management programming and updating the warehouse inventory process. Jordan, back in the warehouse, is working on getting everything barcoded, scanned into the system, and working. It's going to be a work in progress, and it's going to take a lot of time to get that going and organized. She thinks that we're at approximately 40% complete on that one. And within the next 3 to 6 months, we could be upwards of 75 to 80%. So always a moving target. And once we get there, it'll just make really asset management a lot easier up in the warehouse. For reviewing technology lifecycle, so we're moving forward on that one. We have identified some surplus equipment. I know that the board approved us to sell. That has been put on Gov Deals, and we're going to sell that equipment. We're also working on a lifecycle system for the computers so that we can make sure that we have updated technology, and we're working with quality equipment so that we can actually perform our jobs. For water and wastewater master plans, in August, last board meeting, we approved the wastewater master plan, so we now have a water and a wastewater master plan for Green Valley. So that's a win for the company, and we're gonna look at updating the water master plan when we need to. I know that's on the chart, but we're always updating documents as necessary. And then Travis and his team are currently in the process of reviewing the construction standards. So that'll be updated here sometime within the next year. So we'll do that one. Penny, any questions on the modernizing the infrastructure and operations?
No, I don't have any. I mean, I know, Gage, we talked about annually when it comes to the water master plan for amendments. Do we want to do that quarterly or biannually, or what was your thoughts?
Well, not enough changes, to do it any quarterly. I think we need to, once a year to take a look at it and review it, and we just need to set a date on the calendar and get that done. I mean, but
I think we talked about the anniversary of when we adopted it.
Yeah, I mean, just an annual review,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
I'd have just one question. You'd mentioned technology review life cycle. You may not be there yet, but what are you projecting for like the computer inventory?
I'm gonna have to get with David on that one, and
Yeah,
then
I'm sure.
we'll be able to provide you a better update. I mean, the important thing is really identifying how old some computers are, and then just
Exactly.
working and creating that schedule. So, and that's what we're currently in the process of doing. So,
Yeah,
and that's where we need to start.
My history with the city of San Antonio, their inventory snuck up on them. The life cycle of IT technology is very short. It's changing all the time. I'm sure David has some thoughts on that too. All right, thank you.
Next slide. So moving on to optimizing water resources. The very first one, identifying new and alternative resources. Our first subtask for that was to develop a strategic water committee, and that's been created, and they meet regularly. So that's a green one there. And then we're always looking for new water. That's always probably going to be amber. I don't think we'll ever be green there because we always need water. And then there is a lot of red on the slide, I understand that, but it's, once again, long lead times. If we go down to the second one, so rehabbing Plant 10, we have moved forward on approving the company to do the design for that one, and I think Travis can give a little update on that.
We signed a design proposal last week to kick that off, and we will hopefully be getting the schedule for when we'll get 30% design shortly. So.
Additionally, we have reviewed all of our leased water contracts, and those have been updated accordingly. And then for the big one that I would like to hit is the water conservation program. So we have the conservation committee has been formed, and one of the big things that we're doing now is we're re-looking our drought and contingency plan, and that draft policy will be presented to the committee in November. So we're looking at updating that and figuring out some initiatives and things we can do to actually help conserve water across the district.
So December's board meeting will be voting to adopt that one?
Yeah, that's the plan, is that one. And, you know, the interesting thing is, so that document and then the community outreach person that we just hired, those two things go hand in hand. I mean, like a lot of the initiatives we've talked about in the Conservation Committee have really revolved around outreach and education, you know, to different groups or whatnot. We just hadn't had that horsepower to get it done, so I'm really looking forward to getting some horsepower in that space, and I think that'll help us. There's one other a comment I want to make on this one. You know, underneath the improved water system interconnection, specifically ARWA, right? I mean, you know, how ARWA works, you know, with coming through Canyon Regional to Green Valley, that's a sore spot. We identified it back, you know, when we did the strategic plan. That one is probably going to sit for a while because we have to figure out what we're ultimately going to do with our ARWA water, and that's hand in hand with what the Strategic Water Acquisition Committee has to do to figure out which one of these water sources we're going to pursue. So there's some of these things we're just going to sit on it. We've identified it. We don't know if we're going to hit a decision point to actually do that yet. But yeah, just want to make that comment on that one.
And I appreciate us tracking all these issues and items as long as we have executional plans behind it so that we understand if we dive in more where they're at and then always updating it accordingly. So no, I'll let you keep going.
Any questions on the optimizing water resources? Next slide. So refining the organization's professional culture. The very first one, in reviewing employee benefits. So we've done that. We've updated our healthcare, and as approved by the board last month, we will be going to new retirement system, TCDRS, and that'll start in October of 25. So I think the very first pay cycle of October is when we start with TCDRS. Moving down to the third one, reviewing and updating job descriptions. We've completed that as well. All job descriptions have been updated. Every employee that within the company has reviewed their respective job description. They've acknowledged it, they've signed it, it's in their file, and we've done that for every employee. And all new employees, when they join the team, they get the same piece of paper that everybody else got, and they sign it and they acknowledge it, so they know what their duties and responsibilities are as well. For professional development training, we're always pushing the guys and the girls and employees to continue to better themselves. So increasing licenses and doing any classes that they want. We are always encouraging them to do that. So that one will almost always be amber. I don't think we'll ever be green because we can always better ourselves, and not just them, but any of the people that sit at the table here as well. I know one of my goals for the next year is actually to get my Class D, be a member of the team, and do my part for Green Valley. And then down at the bottom, the second to last one, maintaining professional qualifications. Our goal is to be 100% licensed for those that need it, and we're very close. I think there's a couple of people, obviously the new individuals that have hired, they don't have licenses, and we're working on getting, and they'll get there. But once again, that task will almost always be amber too, because just because you have a license, we want you to be better. So we're going to want you to go for your next higher license. We don't want you to stop at the D, but we want you to get the C. And once you get the C, we want you to go for the B. And we have a couple people that are actually currently studying to go for an A. So we only had one A last year, and that was Claire. We now have 2 A's, and there's 2 more people that are looking to get A's. So we could go from 1 to 4 in just under a year, which is awesome, and it's good growth for the team and a value to Green Valley, really. So pending any questions on the refining the organization's professional
So
culture.
I'll add to this one too. Kind of like the focus that I'm taking right now is we have a bunch of new employees. So last week, I started a newcomers, briefing. We're going to start doing that, but our onboarding plan in terms of onboarding in terms of HR onboarding, we're great. Onboarding in terms of everyone getting a standard laydown of everything around Green Valley as they join the team, we're not so great there yet. So we've taken the first step, last month to get something in place for that, and we're going to just continue to grow it. But hopefully we'll stay solid with the same number of employees for a little bit of time. We won't be hiring so many other folks, but we need to get that part done. We're working on it.
Next slide. And then engaging the community. These are all red, and that's mainly because we do not have that new community engagement and communications manager yet. She is scheduled to start on 10 October, as Mr. Gage stated earlier. But once she's here, we'll fully get her on board, and we'll get her working on a lot of these tasks.
We have a lot of work for her.
Well, we haven't stopped engaging, right? We've just not been coherently engaging, right? So we've been doing, several things like the touch truck events. We've gone out to high schools and, at the end of the year with several, science days and stuff like that. We just haven't been in a coherent package yet. So really, before I start taking credit for that stuff, I want to get it coherently packaged with a lead sled dog in charge of it, and that's coming soon. So that's going to be a big help for us.
On that note, the hiring it in-house, and, me seeing what ARWA is paying a third party just for a 1-year contract, and then, they have specific tasks, and then they're not here working on it nonstop. I think this is smart. If we have a need for it, I think we're going to be money ahead to just have a staff member in-house doing what we need.
Not to sidetrack us, but I completely agree. Why does ARWA need so much PR? They don't. Their customers are other water suppliers, right? We do, and it's not really PR is what we're looking for. It's not just public relations. We want to engage. We want to, be a member of the community. In order to do that, you have to get out there and engage, not just talk about yourself. And so I agree with you on that one. We don't need PR. We need engagement. So, yeah.
Next slide. So the way forward. So the strategic plan update, the framework, as Mr. Gage pointed out earlier. So quarterly updates with 2 updates not needing any action from the board. We'll just provide updates on the various tasks, and then twice a year, providing recommendations for new initiatives or tasks to add or take off of the strategic plan. And then in the fourth quarter, that'll be more of like a fiscal year review of the strategic plan, how we did, and what our way ahead is for the next year. And you can see the way ahead or the priorities for FY26 on the right-hand side of the slide. I mean, obviously, we're going to get right after that first one, the Community Engagement and Communications Manager. She starts in October. So we'll be able to really go and get that. So pending any questions, we'll give you the next strategic plan update at December's board meeting.
Anybody? Well, I can tell you this is really good. This is needed. You know, this helps out everybody, give us purpose, direction, and guidance of where we need to be accomplishing. And as long as we keep building onto it, and, you know, obviously we'll take things off, we'll put things on as it comes, but we have a guideline to follow, so.
Strategic plan is never done, right? We're never done planning. We're always planning. So, I mean, the plan is a living thing. And what it helps do is keep the staff focused. And also what it helps do is when we do these things where we take task off and take task on, if any director wants the staff to take a look at something, we add it on there. And it just gets, this is what we use as our guide of tasks. The committees are really good at that. We're getting a lot of stuff out of our conservation committee, you know, that are going to grow up into tasks. We'll add those things in there on the strat plan. You know, that's how we'll track them, and it keeps us focused. I mean, that's the value of it, right? And we'll keep on updating as we go.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I see out of it is there's specific focus on various projects that we really need to be focused on that we never did before.
Yep.
So it's very much a way forward, multifaceted.
Appreciate it. All right, thank you. We're going to move on to item F, review and approve the charitable contributions policy. So,
Okay. I'll take us down this one. So we've discussed in the packet, there's a very short policy. It's relative to the point. We discussed how we deal with charitable donations, and we want to be, you know, we want to engage in the community. We want to have an impact in the community, but we also want to do it in a responsible way that's responsible to our ratepayers for where our money is going. We want to do it in such a way that we're not picking favorites. We're not choosing this over that. Has no personal relationships involved. Every organization is treated exactly the same. So what this policy essentially does, it lays out how we would do that. And it's very clearly lays out eligibility criteria. And basically, if an organization approaches GV SUD and they are in our service area, our certificate of convenience and necessity for water or wastewater, and or if they provide a substantial benefit. So like an example of that one, I don't know, would be an organization that's just like right outside our service area in Church, but they heavily impact, I don't know, some sort of group or of people, of constituents, our ratepayers in our service area, right? So there's going to be some judgment call on that one, but the restrictions are it cannot be a contribution to an individual. It cannot create any appearance of bribe, kickback, or other corrupt practice. It cannot be for political causes or organizations' campaigns. And organizations cannot discriminate in any sort of way with standard language you see there by protected classes in accordance with federal law or state law. And then we have a process. So we have a form that's also in the packet. If a group, say, you know, the Girl Scouts over at the high school or something, just a fictitious example. They come to us, they fill out a request form. It states the purpose of what they're doing. That form would then go to the approval authority at the various levels. Those approval authorities are pretty simple. If it's below $1,000 and it's a quick impact thing, I have the authority to do that per the policy. If it is from $1,000 to $5,000, that goes to the Investment and Finance Committee, and they have the authority to say yes to that. And then anything over $5,000, full board gets to vote on it. And then all of the money that we give away for charitable causes in the year is capped by the budget approval amount that the board adopts anyway. So we have controls in place to make sure that we don't get out of bounds or anything else. We have a form, we have approval levels, and that's it. It's a really simple, short policy. And the staff recommends approval for this one as the first step to kind of set us up and get some limits and bounds on what we've done in past practice.
So I know we have a line item budget for this stuff, but obviously to not exhaust that coffer in 1 3-month process, with everybody bum rushing, to get anything, is there a quarterly, hey, this much for this quarter, this much for that quarter
Well,
window?
once we get this in place, we know we've accounted for certain charitable things that we've donated to in the past, namely the youth fairs that we've always traditionally, historically done. So those items are in the budget. We don't have any other real items that are in the budget. But if someone comes up and requests, then we can do a budget amendment any month to do that. I mean, that's within the board's purview if we want to go beyond the figure that we have in there.
Mr. King?
Yeah, a couple things. So I know you mentioned in here that a request does not have to come from a 501c3. So what organizations do you see would not be a 501c3?
Well, I don't believe the Youth County Fair is a
Yeah, I
501c3.
think it is.
Is it?
I mean, I'm
not
just
familiar
curious.
with that.
I'm just curious what that would be. I think it is. I'm pretty sure
Sorry,
it is.
I try not to talk, but I'll take this one. And I also, since I have to talk anyway, I'll let you know, David did do an IT cycle, and we are earmarked for like 20 new computers next year that are going to be obsolete. I took out the 501c3 because we are not using this as a tax deduction, so it's
Right.
not as important for
Right.
us, and I left it open just because I'm not sure what all is out there.
Okay. And the other comment I would make is when you talk about the levels that have to be approved, I think those could be tweaked a little bit. I don't know that, if somebody comes in for $2,000, does it have to go to the committee? I think if it's in the budget, I think we maybe tweak that to say maybe the middle one to like maybe 2,501 to 5,000. But I'd like.
2,500 to 5,000 committee, and then 5,000 and above directors.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And then he has the authority, anything below 2,500.
I'm okay with that. Y'all okay with that?
That
too?
way, I don't want to slow down the
We don't want
process,
to
you
slow
know
down
what I
the
mean?
process, but we want to make sure that we keep things moving, yeah. Go
And
ahead.
then our budget item is what we've got labeled community outreach. That's where we pay this out of?
Yes, and it's not only, that community outreach is a number of lines underneath there, a number of different things. Like the float expenses for the parades that we participate in is in that same bucket, right? So not, that whole number is not all just, charitable donations.
And while I think this is a great idea, I feel like if we have an actual process and a form, we're going to get on a recurring list, for people, and we have a budgeted amount, which could get exhausted quickly. We might, depending on how successful we are, start considering, maybe rotating as people apply annually, because we could expend all of our funds quickly. So hopefully we have that problem where it's so successful we have to think about it a little bit, more closely, but I like it.
And Mr. King had a good comment. We talked about it in the Finance and Investment Committee, is that we want to be sure that we don't just rotely give to the same thing every single year just because we always have, right? And so I think the form allows us to do that, right? I mean, so that was one of Mr. King's comments when we considered it earlier.
And real quick, just for everybody's sake, is the way that we are funding that line item is not just, it's based on the interest that we are incurring, based on our investments that we're doing, our fiscal responsibility on conserving other areas and cutting back. This is not just because we raise rates and now we're giving it back in that form. No, this is through other means of income other than that part. So just want to make sure we're all on the same page. It's based on smart business decisions we've made, this is us giving back what we can accordingly. So, yep.
I would like to make the motion that we approve the new charitable contributions policy with the changes of the middle line there goes to 2,501 to 4,999, and then anything 2,500 or less can be approved by the general manager.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. All right, we have items G and H, and I
No.
believe those items are scratched.
Both of those items are no longer required. Staff recommends no action by the board on G and H.
All right, so do I have a motion to scratch G and H from the agenda?
Take no action?
We'll just motion to take no action.
I'm not sure, she meant to ask Shan, but I don't think it's necessary.
To scratch them, or just say no action on those?
No, just if you can just announce, and reflect in the minutes that there was no action taken on these items.
Okay, so, per advice of legal counsel, we're gonna, confirm that items G and H, no action shall be taken upon those items at this time. All right, moving on to item I. Consider and take possible action on calling a special board meeting in October 2025 and changing the October 2025 regular board meeting date. Mr. Gage, yeah, those dates.
I'll lay this out for us really quickly. So ARWA that we talked about earlier, I've received their bond documents for the next phase of the ARWA project. So Green Valley is a part of the Canyon Regional contract with Crystal Clear, with County Line, and Crystal Clear, County Line, I think that's it, and CRWA. We have to approve bond documents again, right? Those bond documents are ready. I have them. So the recommendation is, in order to get this all voted on with all the other entities that have to do resolutions, and to include ARWA as the last entity that does it, that we hold a special board meeting on the 16th of October with one agenda item for consideration, and that would be the documents from ARWA, which I do have. I'm in receipt of those from the bond council. And it'll be a very short agenda. Recommend 16th at 9 o'clock for a special board meeting. And then the second item there is we're currently scheduled to have our board meeting on the 23rd of October. We want to recommend shifting that back to Thursday, the 30th of October. It does a couple of things for us. Let's just get the books all good and squared away to end of the year. And then I think we have some director travel conflicts on that day. So the staff is recommending the 30th of October. So those two dates for your consideration, sir.
All right, everybody good with those dates?
Yes, I will say, yesterday, Graham Moore had our date to review the bond documents down as the 30th. So just a little bit of miscommunication there. We'll get it done ahead of,
We're getting it done ahead of time.
yes,
Yeah,
we'll get it done ahead of time for ARWA to take.
That's
We'll
right.
have a special meeting on the 31st.
that's right.
All right, do I have a motion to change the date?
10 a.m. still on the 30th?
9 a.m.
9 o'clock.
Sorry, 9 a.m.
Yes, sir. Still on Thursday. Yes, sir. We'll send out calendar invitations. And then for the special, I mean, it's, of course, it's in the purview of the president. I mean, we could do that one virtual if you would like. I don't see any reason why we couldn't. But y'all can consider that as well.
I make a motion to change the dates to October the 16th for a special meeting, and then move the meeting to October 30th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, moving to item J, consideration and possible action related to non-standard water and wastewater service agreements. We have J 1 through 4. Believe the construction committee has reviewed these, correct?
Yes, sir.
And has advised approvals on all of them?
Staff and the committee recommended approval on all of them.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns on those? No? Without further ado, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the non-standard service agreements listed in items J 1 through 4.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Moving to item K, here updates on the items below, GVSUD General Counsel. Shan, do we have anything on your end?
Nothing that I'm aware of. The special session, second special session ended. There's no third one currently planned. I did have a chance to look through that bill while we were offline that was referenced by the CRWA lobbyists. I do know a little bit about that issue. There are two big, giant private developers who are trying to develop a groundwater project out in East Texas, competing projects out in East Texas, and the amount of water is phenomenal. And I think that the goal of the lobbyists is to let you know that the legislature is getting interested in looking closely and scrutinizing these groundwater export projects. And the effect of that bill would have been basically a moratorium pending a study by the Water Development Board on availability of water. It's in East Texas, so it's not a concern to us. There's no new legislation that passed that affects us, other than, the lobbying thing. Should we decide to do it, it would have to be done by a public vote following the approval of that bill in the second session. That's all I've got.
Shan, wasn't that proposed site in the Trinity Aquifer? I know it's in East Texas. I read some about it.
Yeah, it's in the Neches and Trinity Valley areas, which is like Jacksonville. It's like
Yeah.
Piney Woods.
Okay, thank you for that update. So at this time, we're going to go into executive session under section 551.071, 551.04 of the Texas Government Codes to discuss item L and item M. And time right now is 10:10. We'll take a 10-minute break before we go into there and come back out when we're done. Thank you.
Texas, what can I say, right?
Here it is. Hey, are we leaving this on or off?
Hold it here.
All right, David, how are we looking? Good? All right, we're going to call this meeting back to open session. Time is 10:55. We're going to go to item N, which I don't believe we have any action to take, so we're going to move to item O, consideration of proposed items to be included next month's board meeting agenda. We got nothing. Get with Gage if you do. And going to item P, motion to adjourns. Do we
I
have a
move
mo-
we adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Time is 10:56.